Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on today's show, Lexus showing off a brand new concept. This is a brand new LC500 drop top. Now we've had the LC500 coupe now for what, a year or so? And now the brand new LC500 concept convertible is actually making its debut over the past week or so. But the trick is when you look at this very close, this vehicle is so close to production ready. I'm assuming we may hear an actual announcement by year's end that this vehicle is going into production. Powering this beast is going to be the 5-liter, normally aspirated V8, like right out of the coupe, making 471 horsepower, 398 pounds-feet of torque, shipped through an 8-speed automatic gearbox, and the vehicle is rear-wheel drive. Now, we're going to hear a whole lot more, I'm assuming, over the next several months of this thing actually going into production. I don't really think, even though Lexus hasn't come out and said that this thing's going into production, they wouldn't have built this thing so production ready if they didn't have that in mind. So we'll definitely keep you in tune of what we hear. Sticking with the drop top feel, we've had the 991 911 with us for now, what, 6 months or so as the coupe version actually came out. Now we've got the drop top version of this thing. This thing, the 911 brand new Carrera S Cabriolet. This vehicle, too, just like the coupe, comes out with the 3-liter, normally aspirated flat 6, making 443 horsepower, 390 pounds-feet of torque. Now, this particular vehicle in 8-speed automatic trim, PDK trim, comes with 0 to 60 number just 3.5 seconds. That's in Carrera S trim. Now this vehicle's top, which is a soft top as well, will lower and raise its speeds of upwards of 31 miles an hour or 50 kilometers an hour in just 12 seconds time. Starting price for this vehicle comes up at $127,000 and rockets all the way up to $135,000 depending on the trim level that you get. And this vehicle is going to be available at your Porsche dealership in the next several weeks. Another vehicle that debuted about a week ago is brand new Lamborghini Huracan EVO. This is basically the mid-cycle refresh, a heavy refresh on the Lamborghini Huracan. Gets a brand new front end with a front splitter on it as well. The rear end gets a bunch of extra treatment. The exhaust actually moves upward into the chassis. Brand new rear diffuser with a small integrated rear wing in it as well. But it's not just skin deep on this particular machine. It gets a lot of upgrades, including a brand new infotainment system on the inside of the vehicle as well. Power still comes from the 5.2-liter normally aspirated V10, but it does get 30 horsepower bump up to 640 horsepower, 442 pounds-feet of torque. Shifted through an 8-speed automatic gearbox, but this thing gets a bunch of Lamborghini Huracan Performante treatment, including a revised all-wheel drive system with torque vectoring system, a brand new all-wheel steering system inside of the machine. Also gets a bunch of new aero. This vehicle is going to be available at your Lamborghini dealership very soon with a starting price of $261,274 US dollars. Next up on the list, well, some Detroit Auto Show debuts. One of them coming from the folks over the Ford Motor Company in the brand new top of the tree Ford Mustang. This is the brand new GT500. Now, we don't know a whole lot about this particular machine. This is more of a somewhat concept piece, somewhat teaser piece that they actually released at the Detroit Auto Show. Powering this thing is going to be that Voodoo 5.2-liter flat plane crank V8 with a 2.3-liter supercharger attached to it. Talking about power going to be north of 700 horsepower. There is some rumors out there that this company's basically waiting for some more high-performance reveals before they reveal the power numbers for this particular machine, possibly wanting to top some of those folks that may be releasing power numbers very soon. A brand new dual-clutch Tremec-based transmission that's going into this vehicle. That new 10-speed automatic apparently wasn't beefy enough to handle the power and torque numbers this particular vehicle is going to attain. Talking about estimated jaunts to 60 in just 3.5 seconds and the possibility of being somewhere in the 11th second range in the quarter mile. Ford's making this somewhat of an all-rounder. It's going to have a bunch of different transmission modes, meaning it's going to be super quick at the drag strip, super quick around the twisties as well, with Brembo brakes, upgraded suspension on all four corners as well. There is some rumors out there that the Mustang faithful scream loudly enough that Ford will be developing a manual transmission for this particular machine. Not for sure if the manual transmission that's in the GT350, GT350R will be up to the task for this particular vehicle, but we'll definitely keep you in tune of what we hear, and there's going to be a lot more information coming about this machine over the next several months. Next up on the list, well, Subaru finally trusting us with the top of the tree WRX STI. This is the first time ever on U.S. soil that we'll get an S-trimmed STI. This is the brand new S209, which is exclusive to the United States. This thing gets a fantastic amount of upgrades, including all new suspension, new braking system, Brembo brakes in all four corners. This thing is almost 2 inches wider than the standard WRX. The 2.5-liter turbocharged flat 4 makes 341 horsepower, 310 pounds-feet of torque, shifted exclusively through a manual transmission. A lot of aero upgrade. This thing is the best piece that Subaru is putting out in the WRX STI lineup. Now, the trick is we don't know a whole lot more. No performance numbers have been released as of yet, but there's already talk that this vehicle is going to be going on sale inside of the United States market later in 2019, so we'll know a whole lot more over the next several months. Speaking of a track day monster, now that we talked about the GT500 and that S209, let's talk about Lexus's run at this particular deal. This is the brand new RCF. Now, this made its debut at the Detroit Auto Show, not only in the coupe version, but also in this very, very good RCF Track Day Edition, or Track Edition. This particular machine gets a bunch of weight thrown out of it. A lot of the unnecessaries are actually released from this vehicle. Upgraded suspension, Brembo brakes on all four corners. It gets a bunch of aero work. The 5-liter normally aspirated V8 is unchanged, sadly, but still making 472 horsepower and 395 pounds-feet of torque. 8-speed automatic gearbox, rear-wheel drive, torque vectoring, launch control. Talking about 0 to 60s in around 4 seconds. This thing's going to be stupid fast. So we're going to know a whole lot more over this particular machine over the next several months, as this thing will be going into production, especially the RC. The new RC edition will be heading into production very quickly. But we're going to know a whole lot more about this RCF and the RCF Track Edition in the next several months. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiast. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time and get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.